All right. Welcome to the Brown Spade Podcast Show. So today we have a very special guest today. She's you are a family attorney, right?
That's one of my practice areas,
That's one of
yes.
her practices. And we have my brother Cleveland from another mother. But before we begin, so Ms. Johnson, before we begin, give us a little briefing about yourself and your career.
Okay. Well, I am originally from a very small town in Mississippi, Kosciuszko. Most people have never heard of Kosciuszko,
No.
but it you have though, because it's actually where Oprah was born. That is
Oh, okay.
that's our only claim to fame. But I'm from small town Kosciuszko. I attended Jackson State. So that's kind of how I got connected here because friends to Jackson State that know Cleveland. And I attended law school at the University of Mississippi, which is also known as Ole Miss. I moved to Atlanta during my last semester of law school to intern with the Georgia Innocence Project. They are a nonprofit that works on exonerating wrongfully convicted people. And so I interned there and pretty much fell in love with Atlanta. And that was almost 17 years ago. So apparently I love it. And I started my own firm in 2006, JL Johnson and Associates. And I have traditionally practiced in the area of family law for the last 16 years. But I am transitioning into kind of out of that. I also do personal injury, and I'm transitioning into business law. So, copyright, trademark, nonprofit, all that good stuff. We have created so many entrepreneurs during this pandemic, especially in our community.
Mhm.
And a lot of people just have gone and started an LLC, but they're not handling business. So I want to be able to kind of be that hand to guide them and make sure that they're handling business the right way. So,
Gotcha. Understood. Understood. Okay, so let's get started with the questioning.
hey,
So I guess what we'll do, Cleve, we'll just rotate the question. I ask one, and then you ask. We just
Okay.
go down the line like that. You go ahead, Cleve, with yours. Go ahead. Your first question.
Okay. So you say you've been practicing for 16 years.
yes.
During your 16 years of practicing, how do you feel as far as the family courts? Do you think they are fair or
Well, I'll say this. I can tell you from New York, from up top, it's a little different there because we don't particularly have like family court the way you guys do. But of course, we have family issues, and that encompasses everything from divorce, child support, custody, contempt, modifications. I don't really do a lot in juvenile court with deprivation or whatever, but definitely the drama that comes between parties or parties that have children. And fair, I think, is relative. Since I have been practicing, I have heard judges time and time again say, it's better if y'all figure it out because you're going to stand in front of me for a couple of hours, a couple of days, even maybe a couple of weeks. Somebody who knows nothing about you. And yes, I'm going to listen, but when you walk away, nobody's going to be happy because I'm going to give this person something that, the other person wants and vice versa. So, do I think it's fair? I think that our judicial system across the board is flawed. And family law in Georgia, which is different in every state, but in Georgia, most of it is based on the fact finder, which is the judge. So if the judge is having a bad day or may have had a fight with his wife, I mean, you don't know what you're gonna get that day. If his son cut up and you
Right.
look a little bit like his son and he having a bad, you just don't know what you're gonna get. And they are ultimately the decision maker. We rarely have jury trials in family. So I think that the process is a good process, and I think that most of the judges do try to listen and be fair. But unless parties come to an agreement, normally nobody's walking away 100% happy.
yeah?
Right. Yeah, I was looking at some statistics, and it was the 2015 statistic from the American Sociological Association that women initiate 2/3 of the divorce, and that's at 69%. So my thing is if we're trying to build family, uh, what do you think we should do to try to curb that large number of initiating those divorces?
So I don't think it's a singular road. And I think a lot of times when those questions are asked, people are like, okay, what's the solution? It's the solution is not one fold, it's many different things.
Right.
One, the first things you say is if we're trying to build family, everybody ain't trying to build family, right?
Sure.
Like it's plenty of people that put more effort into the wedding than they do the marriage. We know that. It's a lot of people that don't come from love, they come from survival. So they don't know how to love properly,
Right.
right? It's people that other than that may have never seen their mother and father or their grandparents, together loving each other in a healthy way. But you expect them just because they have deep feelings for somebody or they have good intimate relationships with somebody
Right.
to get married and have a successful marriage. I think across the board, what I see is that people really should take the time to not only heal themselves and be okay within themselves first, but also seek help from outside sources, therapy. In our community, we go right to the preacher, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there is a distinct difference between counseling and therapy. And going to therapy doesn't mean that you're crazy, but you might need to work through some stuff. I had to go through therapy to work through a not so close relationship with my brother. Most Black people be like, I'm not paying somebody to, we don't talk. But I needed to do that, right, for
That sound like
myself.
me.
But I need to do that for myself. And that was important to me. And so now I'm at a better place and I establish healthy boundaries, right? Because I know now that he will cross boundaries. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
I think that that's one of the main things that people need to learn how to love themselves, because if they're not loving themselves, they can't love other people. And the
Mhm.
second thing I'll say about it is a lot more women that are doing it now because it's not like it was. On social media, we see men all the time talking about my mama held down a job, she did this, you know what I'm saying, running it down. And these women not like that. But a lot of times your mom and your grandma didn't have a choice. And we're not talking about slave days. We're talking about your mama and your grandmother. They didn't. Yeah, my mom said, and her and my dad have been married almost 50 years. This year, I think it's year 49. But my mom says all the time, she got married to my dad at 19. I believe my dad was 24. And I said, Mom, why did y'all, get married? Because you didn't have like a fun time. Like you didn't get to go out. She said, I want to get out of my mama's house. So now you got 19-year-olds, that's not their worry. They out here paying for $3,000 apartments. So women aren't as confined to dealing with, control, a lot of other stuff that maybe, some people had to deal with in the past. So I think
Right.
that's why more women are filing.
Yeah, I think that's part of our problem in our community. So that's why when you hit the switch and you turn on and watch the local news, you see all these kids running around committing all this crime because most of these kids are coming from single parent homes.
Absolutely.
Another thing I would like to mention before Cleveland get his questions going is uh, the college educated woman, she initiates 90% of the divorce at an even higher rate. So the so-called sisters with the education, like we say down south, and with the education, I think they have to learn, or if they want the marriage, to make those adjustments. Because just because you're educated, yes, you have options, but you should consider your children as well, because ultimately the kid is the one that suffers.
Well, I have a question, and I know y'all are asking me questions, but this is dialogue, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So I have a question. Based on what you're saying that because she's fouling, she's the root of the problem. Is anybody discussing why she's fouling?
No, I'm well. It as far as most of the time when you well, let's do statistics. 19% of the time is, domestic violence or, abuse or something like that. They file. And I'm not saying that it doesn't happen more, but that's all that's reported. So that's the only thing they could go by. But most of the time, it's not all the time domestic,
Right.
violence against women. You may disagree on, on a lot of things, but you got to understand that if you're looking at the Black community, one of the problems that we have is we don't have communities because we don't have families. And I'm not saying that, a person should stay together forever, but if it's not domestic violence, abuse, or anything that's going on in the house, you can pretty much work through everything. And I know
No,
cheating
you
is
can't. Infidelity,
You
down
can work
low,
through infidelity. You can work through infidelity.
down low, which
You can work through infidelity.
you can work through infidelity, but not if a person continues to do it. Okay.
No. I'm not talking about, and that's the thing, because even statistics show that at 23%, well, now it's not even 20, it's 18% of men are they show statistics of men cheating, and women cheat at 15%. So it's not like it's a big gap in cheating, and these are statistics. So it's not like it's a big gap in cheating. I'm not saying that I agree with cheating, but most of the time we don't even go to counseling to even try to see if we can work it out. That'd be the first thing we want to do, is get a divorce. That's the first thing. We don't want to work it out. We don't want to go to counseling, because it's a small percentage of married people go to counseling. They just ready to give it up and call it quits.
I don't disagree with you, but I will say this, because I've been doing this for a long time, right? And I tell people when they come to me, you need to feel comfortable with me. There's different lawyers for different type of people and personalities, and because I'm gonna be your best friend, you gotta tell me all your secrets. You know what I'm saying? And
They don't
they
do.
do.
They don't do.
Well,
it comes out.
Usually they do, because it comes out, because like I tell them, I can't defend you if you don't give me all the details. Now I can spin it if you tell me, but if you don't tell me, like, it's nothing I can do for you. So they tell me a lot.
Right.
And I can tell you that it's usually not just, oh, we had a really bad argument. It's usually like years. And even you saying, oh, if it's not domestic abuse, it's a lot of people with mental health issues, a lot that are unresolved.
That is true.
A
And
lot
that's
of
why I
mental
mentioned
health.
counseling. Like, you should go to counseling, seek counseling, because at one point in your life, you and this person loved each other, because y'all actually got married and actually, said your vows and had kids, got a hot, like, y'all at one time y'all loved each other. And I'm not saying that, this
Fade it out.
she'll come back in.
Maybe that was her. I don't know. There we go.
I don't
Okay.
know what happened.
I have no earthly idea. But the good thing is you're back.
Yes.
So go ahead, Clee. Finish off.
Oh, we back to the bad thing again. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
I think
I can't hear you guys.
I think
I'm gonna go out.
yeah,
I'm gonna
go
go
out
out because I can't hear
that
you.
earpiece.
I'll be back.
She's trying to talk with that earpiece.
I mean, she was able to do it.
Yeah, but the earpiece might be losing battery power.
Oh yeah, that too.
Come on back, Miss Johnson. Man. There we go. Let's see. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, good. Okay, let's continue.
I forgot my thought, but listen. So let me. The next question I have is because I know we talked about just as far as let's see. So if a man wanted, other than abuse in the courts, what other reason will prevent a man from getting, being able to get visitations for his child?
There, other than and abuse actually doesn't stop it. So
Really?
in Georgia, abuse. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. So in Georgia, abuse is not a bar to being able to see your kids. Um, it's really generally something way, way more serious. Like there has to be like some allegations of sexual abuse or maybe like, really bad drug use or something like that. If you and the mama got into a fight in front of the kids, you can still see your kids. If you smoke some weed on the weekends, you can still see your kids. I was a guardian in a case, and a dad had a very clear, obvious alcohol problem. And the court was just like, you can't drive in the car with the kids. Now they were older, so they were able to say, "Hey, I'm not getting in the car if he's been drinking."
Right.
But it didn't keep him from the kids. I don't. The struggle is not as real as men. A lot of times, the narrative presents for men, especially in Georgia. Men have plenty of rights. I've gotten fathers custody of their 4-year-old kids.
Hold on.
So they
Okay,
have.
that's for as far as visitation concerned. But when it's time to come out the wallet and pay, in most cases, the men are paying because in most cases the kids are with the mom.
You're right.
Okay,
But
so it's not okay.
see,
So it's not fair treatment. But go ahead, continue. Oh, she faded out again. Okay, you there? You back with us?
Yes.
Oh man, she having problems.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this out of my ear because
That's what I'm trying.
I'm
I
here.
think the battery about to pass, dying or something.
Can you hear us?
If she disconnect that, she.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, much better.
Can you hear us?
I can hear y'all.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah. What was you saying, Daniel?
No, she was saying something. She was responding to me. I was saying that in most cases, the guys come out of the pocket to pay, and she was making it seem like it's almost a balance. And I think it's an imbalance because in most cases, men pay the child support. Men and the kids always go to the mother in most cases. Come on, Miss Johnson. Okay, now she on a different thing. All right.
I bet they are gonna be like, "This is such a ghetto lawyer." I don't know why.
You read my
What's going on
mind.
is
You read my mind.
calling me.
No.
Wait, no.
We
What's happening is people keep
the
calling me. No, it's not even that. People keep calling me, and when I decline it and come back in, it's all like
it's
scrambled
all
up.
messed up. Yeah, so that's why using it on your phone is kind of but we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay, all right. But the last thing I heard was a question about child support. And
I'm telling you that in most
can you repeat
cases,
that for me?
In most cases, the men pay because the kids go to the mom. And I'm just letting you know that I think it's a very unbalanced scale because again, in most cases, the kid go to the mom. And sometimes that don't necessarily mean that the mom fit for the job, but they just automatically grant it to the mom, to the mother.
So you're saying that the men end up paying because the kids always go to the mom?
In most cases.
That's true. That is true. But again, again, I know y'all are gonna be like, okay, yeah, right. But I promise you, a lot of times the men do not want the kids.
Yeah,
They
right.
don't want that
Yeah,
full-time
right.
responsibility.
So
Oh my, what just happened? What she got? Cricket? Erica in the building. Okay, Erica. Thanks for the support. Okay, she chimed all the way out. I hope she'll chime all the way back in.
yeah, because I mean, we about to get down to the meat and potatoes. But because I think I'm thinking about you know, as far as with the courts.
Just hold that thought, because write it down if it's pertaining to her. But if it's not, then we keep going. We keep going.
It is, because one of the questions, you know, that I've talked to men that they want to know is, you know, what I know that the state will come in and support, as far as, you know, issue a lawyer to the mother, you know.
Here we go.
Throw the whole internet away. I'm
telling you, I don't know. You must got internet from Mississippi somewhere. That's what I'm trying to say.
You know what? You're not gonna do that. No. I have Xfinity, but I promise, like, the moment I came on, they were like, oh, we're experiencing some issues in your area. I was like, so nothing's working right. Like,
right.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So let me ask, because do you?
I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. Come on.
There you go. I like that.
Do you remember your thought? Do you remember where we was at? Because I forgot.
No, I was just telling her that the scales were unbalanced when it comes to the man reaching in the pocket, and she agreed, and then she was about to expound on it. Do you recall, Miss Johnson?
Can you hear us?
You got to be kidding me.
I don't think she can hear. Can you hear us, Ms. Johnson? She can't hear us. Can you hear me? Can you hear us?
Mm-mm.
I don't.
She's not even paying. It's like she's not even reading what you're saying.
I don't think she can see us.
I'm not. Yeah, she should have got on her computer and not her phone.
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to ask,
she'll chime back in.
As far as I know that, you know, the courts will issue, you know, a lawyer, you know, to support the mother, and if it's even about the child, because they always say it's about the child, you know, we want what's best for the child,
right?
But I wanted to ask her, as far as how did the state benefit from child support? Because
right.
I know on one side, I think it's called public. When, you know, when a person agrees, you know, both parties agree that I will pay this amount, and he agrees to pay that amount. But then when you get the courts involved, you know, it's a totally different thing. Because let's say if a person comes up to, let's say a person, a woman takes her child down to, you know, to child support, or go down to the welfare office and she's trying to apply for assistance. And the father, they're going to ask for the father information. Who is he? You know, what is his name? Give me his social, where he lived, where he worked. They're going to ask for all that information. Because if she don't give it, then she's not going to get assistance. So once you give it to them, then they're going to, you know, provide her with the service, but they're going to go after the father. And she's not going to see that money. But the state is going to go after the father, and he's going to have to pay that if he don't. Right. You know, I even want to touch bases as far as, you know, what it looks like, because what is a man's right if, even if he's not paying child support, you know, he still has a right to see his child.
Well, she already answered that question. She already said that. Oh, you said if he's not paying child support?
Yeah, if he's not paying child support, he's still, because I want people to know that, men to know that, even if you're behind on your child support.
Hold it, yeah. Hopefully she can come back so she can answer that.
Yeah, you still, matter of fact, if she holds your child from you, even though you ain't pay child support, you can take it to court. you know, she can't do that. You know, she can see jail time for that. You can't hold the child from, because they don't look at it as, they don't look at the money part as far as, you know, your visitation. That's two different things. You know, just because you know you're not, you know, providing for the child.
Come on, come on. Okay, can you hear us?
I can hear you. It's really weird because I'm not on Wi-Fi. I'm on my cell phone set, but it's like it keeps going in and out.
Okay.
And I have a Verizon and Xfinity, so it is not a Boost mobile phone before you start. And it is not prepaid. I got minutes. So I just don't know what's wrong.
It's okay. It's okay.
We
forgive you.
I can see you now. I can hear you, and it's not all broken up.
Good. We forgive you. We forgive you.
Thank you.
Okay, so you was saying that most men don't want the responsibility of having a child. That's what you were saying. I disagree with that. But go ahead, continue.
Well, I'm gonna tell you why I said that. I just had a case. We actually just got them divorced yesterday, right? So before dad was in the case, he didn't have a lawyer, but he was active, you know, in the case. Mm-hmm. So what do you want as the parenting time? Because my client actually was like, can he please get the baby? Like, I'm tired, you know what I'm saying? I have the baby all the time. So, and I think the child's maybe like 6 or 7. Long story short, he didn't want holidays. He didn't want any of that. He wanted them to keep this, you know, little schedule that they had going on. Long story short, he got a lawyer involved, and she's like, oh, you're taking all this time away from my client. And all I was thinking was, no, I'm not. Your client did not want any of this time until you got involved. But now all of a sudden he wants his time, which we agreed to everything. But it's almost like the mom who really knows that the kid is better with dad, but won't give the kid to dad because she doesn't want to be considered a bad mom. A lot of times it's the same thing. Men want the custody when somebody else is like, why you don't have your kid more? Or they want 50-50 because they don't want to pay child support. But you ain't trying to wake up every day, 5 a.m. and deal with tantrums and all that kind of stuff. That's just my 16 years, but you may know better than me. I'm going off of my little experience. That's all.
Okay, off your experience of working, because of course you're going to see cases like that. I mean, yeah. But off of your living experience, most of the men that you know, do they want to spend time? Do they want that's divorced and have kids? Do they want to spend time with their kids? Most of the men you know.
Spend time? Yes. I never said they don't want to spend time.
Okay.
I said they don't want that primary parent responsibility. But spend time, absolutely. And most of them want to be more than an every other weekend dad. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, because and that's yes, I totally agree. I
believe you had a question earlier before she blanked out.
Goodness. Well, one of the things I want to ask, what as far as the father not paying child support, you know, what is his right, even if he doesn't pay child support, what is his rights as far as visitation? Because I see a lot of cases where women don't want the child, thinking because he's not paying child support, or if he's behind on child support, he shouldn't see his child, or he's not going to be able to see his child. I'm not going to let him see his child.
So my answer is twofold, because there are two different scenarios. There's one scenario when there's been a marriage, and there's another scenario when you've gone through the system. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Continue, please.
So when you've gone through the system, it's different, because in the system, these are two distinct things. If you have a child out of wedlock in Georgia, and I can only speak to Georgia, but if you have a child out of wedlock in Georgia and the mom goes to child support and files child support against you, and they do a DNA test and it shows that you are the biological parent, right?
Right.
Then you have an obligation to pay child support for that child because you are the biological parent. In Georgia, we distinguish between biological and legal parents. So a biological parent has to support the child financially. A legal parent gets rights to the child. But if the child is born out of wedlock, you have
You got to be kidding me.
And she was getting to the point that I wanted men to hear.
You were saying that they don't have any rights.
They don't, and that's why it's important out here having kids. Men need to stop having kids.
Hold on, just hold on. All right, where you at? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Hello.
I can't hear y'all that well, but if you can hear me, I'll continue my answer.
Yes, please continue.
Continue.
You can hear me?
Yes. Yes, go.
We can hear you.
Okay. So I can continue my answer.
Okay. Continue, please.
Okay, great. Okay, awesome. So
yeah. I mean, she was gonna get to the point where what I want men to hear, because
No, she's gonna get to it. She'll get to it. She need to go stand by a freaking window or something. Oh man.
You said, hey, you said Erica had chimed in. What's going on, E?
Yeah, she's still in the building. Yeah. But yeah, these are a lot of things. Well, I don't want to keep expounding. I'd rather for her to talk for coming from her. There we go. All right. Can you hear us?
yes, I can hear you.
Okay, let's go. So you was just getting good. Let's
okay.
go.
I know, right? So I was saying that whenever the child is born out of wedlock, there's a distinguishment between biological and legal. So biological has to pay, and that's separate. But legal, only a father can go and file a petition for legitimation, and that is to legitimate yourself as the legal father, so that now not only do you have the responsibility to pay, but you have rights to ask for custody, for parenting time, to be involved in school, and all of those types of things. So now when you're in a marriage, you automatically have custody rights. You are automatically considered the legal father. So you don't have to fight for those things. But when you are not married and you have a child, those are two separate things. So it is true, when you're not married and you have a baby, if they file child support, you are obligated to pay support, but you do not have the right to see your child until either the mom allows you to, or until you file legitimation and legitimate yourself as the legal father.
Okay. And that's one of the things. I was talking to a gentleman, and he, I said, I'm not a lawyer, but just from me reading up on it and how you explained it, I'm like, yeah, that's how it goes. That's why it's important that these guys out here having babies, and women they don't plan on marrying or plan on being with, your rights as far as because the courts is supposed to lean more towards the child, but right now if you out here just being a baby daddy, your rights is really out the window. You really out here you really about to spend some money just to see your child. And that's why it's important to not be out here just having babies.
So, Ms. Johnson, so what is your take on in some instances where the guy get taken back to court so they can revise because she found out he's making a little more salary wise, and now she wants more money. Now, if it had not, she knew that she was fine with what she was given through the court order. And that's where I say the scales are unbalanced, because like I know, there are some greedy sisters out there, and they're not very competent when it comes to receiving those funds, because it's all about their lifestyle versus the child.
So I'm going to say this. all in every situation. It's not just about the sisters, whatever. In every situation, it's gonna be good and bad across the board. And I think what people get confused about, like Cleveland was saying something about the courts. The courts are there to uphold the law. A lot of the issue that people have is with the laws, is not necessarily the lawyers or the court,
Right.
because that's what the law allows. The law says, and you can look in our statute, that if collectively two parents earn this amount, this is how much it should cost to take care of a child every month, right?
Right.
And they break it down. So if you earn 70% of that amount and I earn 30, then if it's $1,000, right, for our combined income, and this is something that we don't have control over, this is a scale. If based on our joint income, it costs $1,000, this child should have a lifestyle that costs $1,000 a month. Then if you make 770 of that and I make 30, you're gonna pay me $700 a month. That's how it works.
Right.
And that's legislative. That's what the legislature has decided. So when you say, okay, well, these women are going back, it's because
they're using the system.
According to the law,
they're using the system. Yes.
No, it's not about using the system, because what I think a lot of parents that, especially if you've never been married and like together living and, you know, mom has been a primary person, I don't think a lot of people really understand how much it costs to take care of these kids. And, you know, a lot of men, I think, or I shouldn't say men, just people that are paying support. And I know it's normally men, but I think a lot of men think she don't need all of that. They think $300-400 a month is cool. And it's like, no, like, what if I want the child to be in some extracurricular activities so that their mind is stimulated? And I hear you, and I'm here for the brothers, and anybody that sees or hears this podcast is going to be like, oh, that was my lawyer, because I represent a lot of men. So I'm here for it. No, but I also keep it real.
Yeah, that's what I want you to
real,
do. Huh? I said, that's what I want you to do. I want you to keep it real.
Right. So keeping it real is, number one, if you didn't want to come out of pocket like that, you shouldn't have had a baby with somebody that you didn't want to be with. That's number one. Number two, if she using the system, she using it based on the guidelines. She not special. She not doing anything spectacular. The law allows that. Just like the law, in order to keep Black families apart, allowed projects in Section 8 that said, hey, you can live here with all these kids as long as the daddy not here. It's a system.
Right.
It's a system. Right. And everybody uses the system for what works best for them.
They do. They do. They will abuse it. They definitely.
I mean, because I have a friend. I just talked to him recently, and you know, he's paying child support. He's a very active dad. He's a very responsible guy, and I'm not saying that because he's my friend. And you know, he was paying child support on time. Matter of fact, I think he put himself on child support.
Okay.
And I think she found out, you know, he's making a little bit more, so now she wants more because she's looking at his lifestyle, and she done moved on with her life and got remarried and everything. But it's like, okay, so if you didn't know he was living his lifestyle, you was fine with what you was receiving. That's my point that I'm making. Now I hear what you're saying. She's playing within the guidelines of the law. I get that, but again. Me personally, I mean, I never had to pay child support or anything like that. Let me say that. But I just think it's unfair for somebody to just be very vindictive like that when it comes to pulling people resources away. Because in most cases, some people do pay a little. Some guys do pay. I think they do pay a lot more than what they should, based on what they get paid, and because they now they barely can live. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not saying you pay $300. I agree with you on that part. But at what point I just think it need to be revised. That's all. I think the system need to be revised a little bit more. That's all.
Well, can I say one thing about that too? So you said she was fine with it. Just because it was ordered doesn't mean she's fine with it. Just because it was ordered doesn't mean it's sufficient. And it's like, I've had clients that have the finest things, right? And a dad pays $2,500 a month child support. I think we all can agree it probably doesn't take $2,500 a month to care for a 12-year-old, right? No matter how many private lessons he has.
And my friend was paying $3,700, but go ahead.
Okay, but it's lifestyle, right? Because dad is in a $1.2 million house.
That has nothing to do with
it does.
No, it doesn't.
No, what I'm telling you, I'm not arguing personally, because understand, I don't have kids, so I could care less. So let's go there.
I don't pay child support.
Okay. So, but what I'm saying is it does matter, because the statute says that the more money these two people that created a child make, the more money, the better lifestyle this child should have. Two people that both earn $25,000 a month are not going to live the same way that Oprah's child is going to live. There's a different lifestyle. There are different experiences across the board. It's going to take less to care for that child than it is to care for Oprah's child. So that is the science behind how we get to child support here. Mm-hmm. It really is.
But what I'm saying is, listen to what I'm saying clearly. If they already got a divorce, she done moved on with her life. That he wasn't making that at the time. Mm-hmm. So
she's going off a scale.
I hear that, but I'm saying, but she's looking at what he's doing again. Go ahead.
It's not about looking at what he's doing. You're living a better life, so your child should live a better life. And let me be clear, because let's just use numbers, right? So let's say he was paying $500. Not necessarily she was okay with that, but that's what was ordered, and it was fine. Now he's blown up. Great. So now she may still operate and care for this child within the confines of $500, but now he's making more money. So now let's say he should be paying $750. Okay, based on the scale. Your thing is she's vindictive and using the system. What if she's taking that $250 and putting it in a $529? Or what if she's taking that extra $250 and now putting him in football, which is going to change his life? Like, there are a lot of things that come along with that. It's not always just everybody's having babies by trifling black mamas, and black mamas just want the money. That's not always the case.
I never said
that's how you coming across. That's how you coming across. Like they
No. I was giving you a scenario, and then you start talking about you jumping around. I'm talking about a specific person. I say a friend of mine.
Right.
And again, not to also mention that she quit her job. So she did all this she did all this to play within the margins to get more.
With that, but that means he needs a better attorney, because guess what? You quit your job in Georgia. That's called being voluntarily underemployed or unemployed, and you're not going to get the benefit of that. Her child support number is not going to be zero. They're going to look and say, okay, so you mean to tell me for the last 6 years she was earning $150,000 and she quit for her mental health? Okay, well, we're still going to be basing child support off of you at 150, or maybe we'll take it down to 100. But she's not going to get a free ride either.
And in this case, again, I'm talking about this particular case. I don't want to sound like I'm talking about everything is a case by case basis. Okay. This is a very, very responsible person. If any activity need to be done, he will still go in his pocket regardless of what he's paying per month. This is the type of guy this is. He will still come out of his pocket and pay.
Well, I was just about to ask. So does he feel like she's not taking good care of the child? Is the child not afforded
I talked to him the other day. No, it's not. Well, now the problem is every time he tried to confront her, she threatened him with the court. And according to him, he said his lawyer told, and she just moved like further in some different jump off Georgia, some way off county somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Not jump off Georgia.
So his lawyer, he said his lawyer told him to just stand fast on it, which I disagree with that. But again, I'm not a lawyer.
Well, I'm not a lawyer. This I'm like Steve Harvey. Let me give you the street law. I say this, like I told you earlier, Daniel. I believe in playing big bank, take little bank. If that's what she's doing, his lawyer should be bringing her to court back and forth. I will be bringing her to court back and forth for things that I know that I can get, you know what I'm saying, as a parent, as a father. So that's what I was telling you earlier, Daniel. His money is much bigger than hers. I would get to the point where I'm going to demolish her account to where she's going to back off and leave me alone, because that's the way millionaires and all these guys who got money do. They play big bank, take little bank. And with his money, if he's making, you know, that type of money,
right?
Oh yeah, my lawyer is going to get her up off me. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even have to deal with her.
It also sounded like his lawyer was exhausted.
Yeah, but the thing is, they not realizing this is a money game that she's playing. You got a lot of money, so guess what? Big bank take little bank. I will make her go to court. She live in, you say in Egypt, Georgia. I will make her keep traveling back and forth to the court until she get tired and say, you know what? I'm gonna fall back, because she's playing a mind game with him with that. I'm gonna throw the courts on you, but guess what? She can't. She's gonna run out of money. I would take her to court.
It ain't even about. But you know what? It's not even about her running out of money. Your friend making that much money, he needs to have a lawyer on his side that wouldn't even allow that move. Let's start that, because you can't just pop up.
That's what I think his lawyer. I think his lawyer tapped out. I think his lawyer was just ready to move on. That's what I think.
I think so too, because guess what? You have, I don't know how old his child is, but
8 years old, something like that.
Okay, so 8 years old. He's been going to school probably with the same kids a couple of years. He might be in extracurricular activities. You know what I'm saying? I would have filed an injunction. You can move, but that child can't move until the court makes a decision. Like, there are options. But
that's
again,
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And this goes back to what I was saying before when we were talking about the custody and the time. I'm not saying Black men or brothers don't want to be with their kids, but like that fight, I see so many men that just say, forget it. And I think that just might be, you know, men just like, women have that fire. They will fight until the death.
Yeah, but men don't want to fight because I mean, again, I'm not I can't speak for all men, but I can listening to men. They pretty much feel like they fighting a losing battle in most cases. That's how they feel. Now, which not said to mean that's not true, but they already defeat themselves before they actually begin to fight.
And that's the point of getting you a lawyer to represent you, because I'm not a lawyer, but just from different things that I have read and listened, and I'm like we got rights too. Like, we can actually be here and do some things, but you got to put in the time, and you're gonna have to come out of pocket. That's why it's important. Don't run out here making these babies and you're not married, because you're gonna have to spend in order to see your child. I mean, it's no way of getting around it. Ms. Johnson, let me ask you this. Go ahead.
I want you to ask my question, but I want to bring full circle, you know, what you asked initially about family, because it's a twofold thing. Right. Number one, we got to stop having all these kids out of wedlock. I mean, it's just insane, you know. And a homeboy of mine, he told me the other day, why you ain't had no kids? I was like, I'm a little selfish, and this world is cold, and I don't necessarily know if I want to, you know, raise a kid, you know, in this world, right? And
it's never been hot, though. It's never been hot, Ms. Johnson. But go ahead.
Okay, but you know, he said something that really made me think. He said, you know, people like us, people like you, like good people. He said, we have to have kids because you got to balance it out. He said, because these knuckleheads and these robbers and they have kids every day. Right. And that's what's going to overrun it. Right. You know what I'm saying? If there's not a balance. So that's important, number one. But then the number two thing, we can't do nothing about the kids that's already here, right? They already here. And so when it comes to that, that's why accountability and responsibility is so important.
On both sides.
You got to. And when men come to me, I tell them the truth. Can you get your kids based on what you told me going on at her house or how she's acting, even alienating you from your kids? Because that's major. You can't just like keep kids from their dad. Judges will take them from a mother and give them to the dad. But I tell them, you got to have the money to fight. And that's the thing. Because I'm a guardian ad litem too, which is a position where I'm appointed by the courts to investigate. You know what I'm saying? Where kids should go. I often give kids to dad, not because I have a bias, but a lot of times that's the best environment. but you got to pay me. So you got to pay your lawyer and you got to pay me. So you got to be prepared for the fight. But men absolutely have rights, and especially in a state like Georgia. Georgia's we conservative overall, but in the court systems like Fulton, DeKalb, they're very progressive.
Yeah.
When he was talking about his friend, ex-wife, she's remarried. My question to you, because I've heard, street law that they one of the guys was saying that if she gets married, then his child support reduced, and I told him no, it doesn't work. But can you explain how that goes?
False. Y'all are these street lawyers. Stop it. It's absolutely false. The court does not look at your spouse's income unless going back to you, somebody just quits their job, because let's just say their husband taking care of everything, right? Then you could come in because you still got to have money to live. So they will still consider if you quit. But if you've been making $35,000 a year and now your husband make $200,000, your husband's income is not going to affect the child support at all. We're still going to be looking at your $35,000 a year. Absolutely.
Right. And what I was saying to him, like, unless her husband comes and adopts the child, then that will, matter of fact, that will remove him as far as paying child support. Is that correct?
Well, adoption, you give up all your rights. So he wouldn't even be the father. That wouldn't be his child anymore, technically.
And that's what I was explaining to him. I said, that's the only way. I said, other than that, no, you still got to pay your child support. Like,
and do y'all know how many men ask how to give up their rights because they don't want to pay support?
No.
It's embarrassing.
I never met a person.
I've never met a man who want to do that.
I never met a person.
But you gotta understand, Ms. Johnson, you're in court and you're in that line of field. So you're gonna see that. But if you look at your personal, just your circle of men, like I always say, do you see men doing that?
I don't see men giving up their rights, but I do see some of my friends making excuses, and they know they're going to be held accountable with me. Like, I'm not standing for that BS. I'm not standing for her, not like doing what she's supposed to do, but you got to do what you're supposed to do too.
Yeah. I just wish if we just made it about the kids, and it's another thing that I thought about, like that's, to me, and I know it's accountability on both ends. Because me and Dan, you know, we get on guys that we know that like, come on, bro, like that don't make no sense. Like,
right.
It will, if one of the ways that can change as far as all of these kids being born without the dad, without being, father in the house, without couples getting married. If they change the law of child support, and this is just my opinion, but I think that if you're not married, because one of the things that people go back and forth about is child support. But if you're not married and you have a child, then when it comes down to child support, I think that it should be steps of you getting child support if you're not married. I don't think they should just give it to you because you had a child with this man, and because a lot of times, and another thing that I would like to implement into that is when a child is born, they do a DNA test automatically. Or if you're not married, automatically you do a DNA test, because I think that will change the way we move, men and women. It will change the way we move. That's something that I think if the court, which I know the courts is like a zillion years old, and they don't want to change the way things is because and that's another question. I'll let Daniel ask, or I'll let you elaborate on that. But I think that's something that they should look at. If you're not married, it should be steps for women to get child support. Or if you're not married, it should be steps on men, which is already steps on men being able to see their kids. It should be steps on both ends. That way, everybody is going to be held accountable for their actions.
What steps are you suggesting to get to child support? I'm curious.
I haven't gotten that far, but no, just steps as far as you know, where you're gonna live, where the child is gonna live, where, you know, what plans you have set for the child, because that's never discussed. That is never discussed
It
about.
is.
It is discussed.
It is. Yes. So that's the reason I asked that, because men don't just get put on child support. There's a process. And
I know.
and like I told you, those are two distinct differences, right? So if she just goes down to child support, they don't just automatically put them on child support. They reach out to him and, you know, talk to him. If he's not on the birth certificate, they order a DNA test. And so you have to be established, you know what I'm saying, biologically first. That's step one.
Mm-hmm.
Then once the DNA comes back, then there is a calculation of what the numbers should look like. If he's like, okay, I can't do that, or I got this going on, there's a hearing. So there are some steps before it happens. Now on the flip side,
now what steps
for him?
Okay.
Well, I was just about to say, so that's his end, right? But then when you get to the woman, that's why the man has to file for legitimation. Because legitimation, when you're talking about the custody rights and the parenting time, that's when you get into where's this child living? What does your circumstances look like? Possibly having a guardian ad litem to go into the house, to talk to grandma, to talk to, you know, that's when that part comes. So it is, there are steps. Right. Both ways.
Are they enforcing these steps though? That's what I'm, because
no, she's telling you that's the procedure.
That's the procedure.
Okay, I understand. So
like you can't do it. You can't do it any other way.
Right.
Unless you're married, and that's another set of you know, laws and rules. But if you're not married, which is a lot of what we're talking about, there are steps in place. Okay. Now the man does have the responsibility to initiate that about the custody and the legitimation. You know, absolutely. But, and if a woman, because men have called me, you know, my baby always dirty. She'll never do the hair, this and that. You know what I tell them? You got a cell phone. Your cell phone is everything. I would record these conversations. Every time that baby get out the car, my phone would be on record. I actually just got a TPO dismissed 3 weeks ago from a man. She was trying to put this man in jail. He the father of her 2 sons. And I feel like it was because she done moved on, because he was a good dad, right? They were married, but it didn't work. But he was a good dad and a good man. Tried to put this man in jail, TPO. And guess why? Because after Christmas, instead of, he had him the second half. So instead of just taking him to school, when school started back, they had a bunch of toys. He said, let's go by the house first, drop the toys off, and then take y'all to school. He didn't go in the house. The kid had a key. Took the toys in the house. She said, oh, he came to my house and I feel threatened. But guess what my client had been doing all this time? Recording. Yeah, so actually, I didn't even have to show the judge the tape, but I was ready. I just told the judge. The judge was like, there's nothing here. No violence here. I'm dismissing it. And we walked out.
Right.
But you got to be proactive about your stuff. And I feel like, you know who you lay down and had a baby with. Yeah. If she trifling, you better get your record out. You better
you do.
Yeah, but some of them don't show their hand till after the fact.
Well, yeah, but a lot of them do, Daniel. A lot of them do.
No, I'm saying, yeah, but I'm just saying, you know, like for example, if she move on and she happy, she got somebody, then she kind of gonna be cool. But if you moved on and you happy and she ain't got nobody, that's a problem.
It can be a problem. I agree 100%. But you know what, Daniel? You know what I do all the time, just because I've been doing this a long time, I ask everybody. I said, just tell me, did you see some of this in the beginning? Did you see the red flags? 99.9% say yes. And the 0.1 that don't say yes, come back later and say yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they don't want to admit it in the beginning. But yeah, you saw the signs.
You do. You see the signs and you know it, but you just overlook it because you know Google eyes and everything. But then when you make them mad, because you've seen this person mad with somebody else, like you know where they can go. You know where they can go. But I'm glad, you know, you spoke on that because men have rights too. It's just that we don't push the issue, and then on top of that, we don't have the money. So my next, go ahead, Dan. Go ahead, because I know you.
No. You go ahead. I'm finna.
I was gonna ask. I know. Once like once a woman puts a man up for child support or whatever, does the state automatically issue her a lawyer, or how does that work?
No, so it's a little different because child support is an administrative process. So, like for instance, if you come and hire me and say I want to put Cleveland on child support, if you're a mom, I want to put Cleveland on child. We're going through a private action, which is not child support at all. Has nothing to do with that process.
Gotcha.
So, child support is pretty much, it's very similar, and I hate to say this, but it's very similar to the criminal system. Because, even if I rob you, it's going to be the state of Georgia against me. It's not going to be you against me, right?
Right.
So that's how it is for DHS. It is them.
It's the state.
Yes.
Versus the man.
The plaintiff.
Yes. So to answer your question, they don't get like the way you do in criminal, like a court-appointed lawyer. But there is caseworkers, and when court time comes, there is a lawyer that advocates, I guess, on the mom's behalf. But like most moms aren't there for the child support because they just collect all the evidence. That's all they do is collect it and say, this is what the number is going to be. Either you agree or we go in front of the judge. But the mom's rarely there to go in front of the judge and say, oh, I need this, or this is how much I make. It's the man defending himself. The system is not equal. It's not. And
that was
thank you for admitting that.
And that was going to be my next question. So what is it possible that a man could get assistance as well, or is just that's not what the state does? They just focus on the person who filed rather than the person who's trying to defend themselves. So it's nothing in place for the man. He just had to go out and either defend himself or get a lawyer.
Sink or swim.
I mean, there are programs like legal aid, but most of the time they don't handle these types of cases.
Mm-hmm. Scales on balance.
I'm gonna say this too.
I help my men are listening because this is where it will end. Like you have no support as far as to defend yourself unless you got money, or unless you didn't read some books and you go in there and defend yourself, because
and that doesn't usually work out.
That doesn't work. You never try to defend yourself.
No,
it's a bad idea.
Horrible.
I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how much of a sovereign citizen you are.
Right. That doesn't work.
No.
You need proper representation.
Yeah, you do.
But anyway, we have passed the hour, Ms. Johnson. It was a pleasure. And we always have what we call last words or words of wisdom. And we know you coming back because you owe us some minutes because you done faded off a time. So we know you coming back.
You owe us 20 minutes.
You know what? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So what is it? Anything you would like to say to share some light on somebody, or some type of positive, outro, so to speak?
Okay, I can dig it. Well, definitely you got me on the fence. So whenever you need me, I'm happy to be back. I'm so sorry about the technical difficulties, but thank you.
I do it a lot.
Okay, I really appreciate you guys having me. This is awesome for me. So thank you. But as far as getting out of here, I will say this. I love Black folks. My friends know I'm pro Black everything. I love Black love. I've seen it in my own home with my parents. I desire it, for my own life. And I want us to do better and be better. I think, though, that, again, going back, it's a lot of accountability. And children are a blessing. I don't care how they got here. They are a blessing. They didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask for the dysfunction and the drama. And, I want more Black men to advocate for themselves, to pool their resources, to be able to get proper representation, not just somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about, but get proper representation, because when they understand and have the knowledge, you're more empowered and you're going to just be better overall. And as far as women are concerned, there are plenty of good women out here. There are plenty of women that are struggling because they don't have the support financially, physically, whatever. So it's good and bad on both ends. I love us, and I just want us to, like I said, continue to take accountability and seek the help when you need it. That's what we're here for.
Also, Ms. Johnson, if you'd like to leave your information as far as, if anyone needs any legal,
Sure. So our primary office is in Snellville, but now, everything's virtual. We do everything virtual. So my website is www.jljohnsonlaw.com. And my phone number is 404-919-8439. And I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all as JL Johnson Law. So it's J for Jabrina, L Johnson, JOHNSON, Law, LAW.
What you got, brother, please?
Well, I want to say thank you. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you. This is something me and Dan, you've been trying to get, for a long time, but get the information out and to find, a lawyer that, will get on here and speak strictly from the heart and speak, from your experience and all your training and everything. Our fans, our subscribers, please hit the share button, like, subscribe.
And Ms. Johnson, you need to be a subscriber. As soon as you get off this phone, you subscribe.
I'm on it.
And tell your your little surrounding with y'all. Hey, y'all support me. Y'all support me now. I'm on YouTube. I'm on the YouTube now. I'm on the brown spade. I'm at the brown spade.
I promise I will. Your followers about to blow up. Watch me.
We need it. We need some momentum going. We need some momentum.
I got you. Okay.
I want to say too. I love my black people too. I love humanity because I know overall we all come from the same source. But we definitely have to hold ourselves accountable as men and as women. You shouldn't just be. Don't get me wrong, sex is pleasure, but it comes with a lot of responsibility when you start procreating, especially when you're just laying down with somebody just for the fun. Don't get me wrong, I've had a lot of fun, but I didn't make no mistakes.
Me either.
I didn't make no mistakes, so and I got a baby on the way, and we planned that baby. So
congratulations.
Yeah. So nice. So again, let's just hold ourselves accountable on both sides. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm bashing one side versus the other. Collectively, we have to do better. On that note, we're out. Brown Space.
All right. Thank you.